Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another live stream of Hearthstone. I'm not going to call them recordings anymore. Might as well just call them live streams always. Speaking of live streams, today's probably going to be a secret live stream for most people because it seems like even if I have a scheduled video out that came out like 30 minutes earlier, that seems to not want to trigger the announcements for when I go live, and it seems that live streams count as still going on for about 10 minutes after you stop a live stream. So I've started a live stream, saw it didn't make announcements, stopped the live stream, waited about 10 minutes until the counter on the page that says how long I've been going disappeared, so it finally admitted, you're done, you're not doing this live stream again. I started a second one, waited several minutes to get an announcement to come out. It's not going to come out. Now this very possibly has nothing to do with actual duration of time, and even if it does, it seems I would probably have to inconvenience myself by simply not doing any work for 30 minutes to an hour of when I want to stream, just so that I could hope I get announcements, and that's not worth it. So probably nobody's gonna get online, which kind of sucks. Let me come over here and reload my chat since I redid that, just so I make sure I'm looking at the right chat. It is 4th of July, although Hearthstone has made it more worldwide, so it's the Firefly Festival or something, where we get twice as much gold. So this is a 40 challenge that has been doubled to an 80. So I want to trade that, and now it's a 50 that's been doubled to a 100. Still not the best ever, but it does probably mean I need to make sure I play all the daily quests on the day that this is going to not stop being the case. Like, because I want to get double gold, so I don't want to miss out on any of that. We also have a tavern brawl that is related to that. I did a special video and did a little bit of an experiment by putting out the recording of that special video almost instantly, because it was only a 15-minute video after the stream, just to see who would, which of the two videos would get the most views. And kind of balanced wise, putting out two of the exact same videos seems to actually make sense. So the trick here is I want to win on the tavern brawl to get the card. I've already played once, and it said that I did the quest well enough to get level 1 fireworks, which makes me think maybe there's multiple levels of fireworks, and so I'd like to do that. We'll put something in the chat just to make sure everything is working.
You asked for it.
Let the hunt begin.
So in this tavern brawl, you have this mini Ragnaros that will gain attack for each character it kills. And you want him to kill the most amount of characters. And so I assume, let's just go for a victory right now. I assume what I want to do is win. You can't silence this guy, you can't attack him, you can't do anything to him. A mini rag attacks and it gains his attack. So now if we're supposed to be working with this guy, he would need to play either either 4/1/1 things or something similar. Let's do this. Now the problem is I'm playing as the hunter, and this would really only work well with the healer, so I could get a bunch of healing, maybe with the warrior, so I could get a bunch of armor. Because he's going to get more and more powerful and eventually kill everybody. If we had the guy that would refill everybody's health, that would be helpful. If we had the druid that would do that, if we had the legendary that would do that, there's a decent combination, honestly. But this first time we'll play, I want to just see what happens. Playing the mage, pretty common to play the ice barrier. I'm looking very much forward to the next expansion. We're gonna really focus on trying to win at games. There's plenty of, since we can get daily quests done with friends, we can probably get it done with a lot of people. And see, here's the problem. We've got an 8 character here. This. 1 damage to all other minions. Like, why do I have that guy? I should not have that guy. I have a pretty huge list of things to do. So I need to probably cover the news. Ideally, this will probably be a longer stream as it is. Even though I already kind of know nobody's gonna be on there. Let's see, this and this. Then we end the turn. What's funny is this guy stays alive because of the way it interacted. But unless this mage can do something, that's gonna be the end of this run. Like, a taunt isn't gonna protect them. So we apparently get some kind of emote. How is this working? Feed Ragnar's 30 total kills to grow your emote. So we get the card pack, which is the most important thing, really. Yeah, I could not find that fireworks emote. So they didn't say that it was an emote before, frankly. It said that your fireworks is all I read. So let's go back here. Let's try that again. And let's start on the news. Oddly, even though we kind of know they're not doing a lot of work on Mass Effect Andromeda, the multiplayer is going to add this new alien called the Batarians. At the end of the day, from what I've seen, I don't think the main issues of Mass Effect Andromeda are ever going to be fixed. Like, it's not the fact that the animations look bad. That's part of it. It's a general lack of quality. It's a general lack of skill and good story writing and good gameplay, and I think really, even if you look away from the when you look away from the story of it, the previous Mass Effects, you start to realize that the game only was holding on by its story and by its role-playing ability of the players, and I think that's where it probably dropped the ball the most, is it didn't tell a new and interesting story. So I'll probably never play any of the Mass Effect series at this rate. Yeah, nothing is killing these guys. Let's see. This.
Job done.
In the turn. There's a new game called Aztec, which is a 2D beat 'em up that's set in ancient Mexico, coming out on August 1st, 2017. A lot of announcements were put on my board. I've started to, as a system, decide that it's probably a wise idea to write half of the news the day before. There's plenty of times when I'm recording, because I'm just getting more and more lazy is probably the wrong phrase, but creation, I've heard, takes a lot of downtime. So in between recordings on the day before streaming, I've started to write down everything. That means that a lot of announcements for games that I normally would nudge out still end up in the game. This,
Job's done.
and this will keep me alive for one more time, but it will kill him unless he can play one character. Like, there's really no way to survive this. Interesting, he took the victory, which is not really what you're trying to do here. Congratulations, enjoy level 2 fireworks insect. I think this is something we're going to get to keep forever, but I failed to actually try them yet. Next bit of news. Oh, really? Is it announcing that I'm live just now? No, it's not. It totally skipped the announcement that I'm live, and it's announcing Broken Sword right at 3 o'clock. So,
Begin.
that's the problem, isn't it? Like, I want to stream. It seems like it just doesn't want to announce things unless you're right near the 30-minute mark of my pre-scheduled things, which I guess is to say that their system's not very good. I want to play Stampede and get more, but I would like to play Stampede on the 9th or 10th turn with a bunch of 1-mana thing. So yeah, shocking as all get out. Square Enix has announced a brand new game franchise, brand new game called Anti-Carnival, or Carnival perhaps. Maybe it's misspelled there. I think I wrote it down right. And this is just kind of jaw-dropping to me, because this is the company that just got rid of IO Interactive. So I'm not gonna attack this time. I'm just gonna leave. So we have this fireworks thing, so let's go greetings.
Happy Midsummer.
Midsummer.
Well played. Thanks. I moves quickly.
And see, there's a new timer on these too. Interesting.
I moves quickly.
So yeah, Square Enix just got rid of IO Interactive to theoretically save money. They just got rid of the outside company who was making the Final Fantasy, I believe, 7 remake. I could be wrong about which one it was. And yet they feel that, so you get these little fireworks with Astounding, I guess. Maybe with all of them.
You wish to live forever.
So it felt like Square Enix was really going out of business, and that's doesn't seem to be the case. Now it seems completely different.
Job done.
Darn it. So yeah, I have no idea what Square Enix is doing. I guess they probably want to make more Japanese games and less non-Japanese games, which is a typical xenophobia attitude of Japanese companies. Is like we want our local market to succeed, and we don't give a darn about any other markets. So that might have been the case. They may have just not wanted IO Interactive. There may be a lot of background reasons for that too that we're not aware of.
That didn't quite hit the mark.
No fireworks for that one. I think WoW is the only one that does fireworks, honestly.
A fight.
I will hunt you down.
Everyone, get in here. Everyone, get in here.
Yeah,
Everyone,
Astounding.
get in here. Everyone,
Ah, this is actually a really good
everyone,
move here.
everyone, get in. Everyone, get in here.
I should have this. Alright. This. And is there something I can damage? So there's one more of him.
Everyone, get in here.
And then let's see if we can survive this. There's a new game coming out for the Switch and Vita in 2018 called Penny Punching Princess. Seems to be a top-down kind of brawler. I don't know why they take the victory there. Feed the Ragnaros 60 minions for your last emote. Okay, so we're not that far off from being finished on this. I'm glad it didn't go on forever. They could have certainly gotten a little crazy with this tavern brawl and wanted you to play it 10, 20 times. There's this game called Sheep Solitaire game that's coming out for the Switch on July 6th. And then there's a game called Indivisible that's coming out for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC in 2018. So I got a lot of announcements here. It seems, I think, in part, a lot of games were mentioned at Anime Expo. I saw a similar issue with E3 where a decent number of games that weren't immediately covered got mentioned a few days later. Maybe Anime Expo is still going on, so I'm getting staggered releases. That might be the case too. Let's see. But yeah, a lot of announcements. Sometimes when I write down these announcements, I get what kind of game it is. Sometimes the names make it mostly obvious. Sometimes it's not so easy to figure out what a game is, then they're not too helpful. There's dozens of different ways you can have a visual novel and have it be slightly different. Let's see. This, and this, and then in the turn. Lords of the Fallen 2 team has been downsized, and the scope of the game has been greatly reduced. That's not something we hear a lot in the video game industry, and it's not something we particularly want to hear too much about. In all actuality, I just kind of wish games were announced and then the hype for them was kept at the barest minimal, and because of that you would never really have to reduce the scope because you'd never increase the scope. Now, there are a lot of examples of game creators, and No Man's Sky being a great example of that, overhyping their game and under-delivering, but very few examples of people overhyping their game and then coming out and admitting they've overhyped their game and then saying, look, we can't do what we thought we were gonna do, we're gonna do less. That does not bode well for anybody when you fire a bunch of people and reduce the size, because in the video game industry the next step is we're gonna hear that game is just not coming out at all. Let's see. League of Legends RP, which is their currency, has faced a 20% one-time hike, although it's very possible it may get another one-time hike in the UK following Brexit. So the value of the pound is going down, which honestly, that's bad for the UK, but I've always felt the fact that the pound was about 1.5 times the dollar probably spoke to a lot of inflation. And I'm no economist that has specialists, well, I'm no economist period, but I haven't been paying enough attention to it. But I would there was a big banker crisis in the UK too, which like there was in the United States, and that kind of makes me wonder if it's possible that they had an overinflated market and the value of their dollar was overinflated too. That's almost certainly the case in the United States, if I was to guess. I think we're way overinflated, and if there wasn't so much stock manipulation and speculation and investing in all of this, if a dollar really just meant a loaf of bread instead of a dollar also being able to mean some tiny percentage of a company that's making up its own evaluation and is in no way really worth what it's saying it's worth, I think currency, the value of currency would be a lot different and a lot more stable. Yeah. How you fix that, I would say you probably should regulate Wall Street speculation more or eliminate it completely. Of course, if I get into my crazy solution to the economy in the United States, it will be here the whole time. Okay, so the final fireworks, so yours has been granted. Enjoy it. Alright. So we have no more reason to do this. And we'll see what that works as. We now have to play 5 games, 15 demons, and win 5 games with the warlock, so that's easy enough to do. Let's play our demon deck. Let's see. That would be over here. Ranked, wild. It's been a new month. Homebrewers are still making NES cartridges. That's kind of news to me. I probably had heard that before, but it's an interesting thing. There's a game coming out in fall 2017 called Demon Gaze 2 for the PS4 and Vita. I'm just going to breeze through all of these announcements at this rate. Nintendo has dismissed the idea of entering the PC market in the latest shareholder Q&A. That's Nintendo of Japan, and it shouldn't really surprise anybody.
My dude.
Let the games begin.
Your soul shall be mine.
Right now I'm having a struggle with trying to save electricity in the middle of the summer, and it is not the greatest thing to turn down your air conditioner, or I guess more technically turn it up. So I'm adjusting it via my cell phone right now. Yeah, I'm really trying to push the limits on the smallest amount of electricity one can use while still being comfortable. To get back to Nintendo, yeah, Nintendo Japan's not gonna go to PC, and the thing is, the only thing that is gonna force them to go to PC is if 30 years of terrible profits happened. They have so much cash. They have that Japanese stubbornness. Maybe if the new boss of Nintendo of Japan, who just replaced the old boss who died, maybe if he retired or died very abruptly, maybe then we'd get something. But from Nintendo of Japan's perspective, Super Mario Run didn't make us enough money. Pokemon Go is making a lot of money, but not for them, since they only own, I think, 25% of Niantic and the Pokemon Company or something. So it's not their own personal thing that they're profiting from, so they don't care about it. If the Switch fails miserably, yes, but then the Switch would have to fail miserably in Japan, and so it's still going to take 5 to 10 years before them to get the message. I mean, right here you have people who own shares in Nintendo of Japan, and they won't even listen to their own shareholders. So I suppose maybe that would potentially force them into the PC market, but then they wouldn't be happy about it, so they probably wouldn't do a good job anyways and just sabotage it if there was a shareholder revolt. Clearly in Japan, with Nintendo or not, the PC has seen major acceptance. I wouldn't even say a resurgence, because I would argue this is very possibly the first time that Japan has really embraced the PCs. PCs are finally getting small enough to fit in their small homes, apartments and such. The PlayStation 4 is not the sole thing. The Vita is dying out, although it's still very popular in there. Cell phones are becoming more and more acceptable to play games on. So I think we will see more and more third-party publishers put their games on PC, but don't expect anytime soon to see a Mario game on PC.
I will enjoy watching you die.
It is worth mentioning that Mario did license a few PCs in its early days, but that was a long time ago. I guess I am trying to win here. So I need to keep a focus here. Let's see what the WoW looks like. So when I go WoW extraordinary, it does fireworks. That's all that was about. And you only get fireworks, it seems, if you do one of those.
Tazdingo! Yes!
Like if we do well played,
Well played.
no fireworks. Samsung TVs have a new Steam Link app inside of them. I read an article about somebody using them. It seems like the Steam controller itself might have some issues being plugged into the Samsung TVs, but an Xbox 360 wired controller seems to work perfectly, which honestly, I wouldn't pay the extra price to get an awkward Steam Link controller. I can't imagine anybody really likes those that much.
All realities, all dimensions are pathetic.
This, here,
Job's done.
in the turn. A Super NES Rayman prototype has been unearthed, so right around when they were they're gonna release the Super NES Classic with Star Fox 2, we're also potentially gonna be able to illegally download ROMs of the SNES Rayman prototype, which is probably, if it's a prototype, then that means it's not gonna be finished. Let's see. Let's just play this. Valve is eliminating the Dota 2 majors for the 2017-2018 season, which probably means Valve is eliminating the Dota majors, period. Dota 2. Now, we know Valve has never made a 3 of anything, as far as I know. So, there's no Dota 3, so that means they're just getting rid of something. Let's see, how do I want to play this? I guess we have to do this, and then this, and this, and then in the turn. So that is right in line with what we've been seeing about Valve. No less than 3 writers in this past year have left Valve, game writers. Valve has not announced anything whatsoever. There seems to be little desire to make any more games. They were big into VR last year and this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if they've come to a realization too that even the VR is not going to lead to them actually making a game. So, so as that sits, I would not be surprised if it turns out that we are approaching an announcement or just a slow tacit realization that Valve is never going to make another game at all. Now, I would put my own personal editorialization here. The thing that probably stops Valve from making games more than anything else is Gabe Newell. Like, Gabe Newell is too kind-hearted, too nice to be a boss. He doesn't really lead. He doesn't really force people to do anything. He said so as much himself. And Gabe Newell, to me, and I could be wrong about this, but to me, he looks very, very unhealthy. I would not be surprised if he came out and announced that he was going to retire, or if he just I don't even want to say it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he actually just died in the next year, or just got really sick. Like, there's a lot of different reasons why I could see Gabe Newell not being in charge of Valve, and I don't know if there's really a succession plan. I think Valve is a private company, so I don't think there's a board that would vote in somebody else. But somehow, eventually, somebody new would be put in charge. And maybe if somebody new was put in charge, they wouldn't be so nice. Maybe they would change their style. Very likely they wouldn't, though, because all of Valve is built around that culture of doing whatever they want. And so it almost more likely would have to be that Valve, the runners of Steam, who are highly unlikely to fail, would have to fail enough that somebody could come in and take control of the company. And that doesn't seem likely to happen.
Dare summon me. A paltry
moving on with the news. Yep, nobody's on the chat. That's what I figured. That's what I figured. Because nobody would see the announcement, and when nobody sees the announcement, even me personally wouldn't know I was streaming, even following myself, because you'd have to be looking at your stream feed, which I certainly check my YouTube stream feed rather regularly, 10-20 times a day, but that's still plenty of time to miss an hour stream. But maybe eventually people will. I should have actually drawn a card first, then played this, but whatever. And maybe people will come back and watch the stream later. I'll delete the other one. It's only a few minutes of nothing happening. Over 500,000 Pokemon plushies that were counterfeit have been confiscated in South Korea. Counterfeiting in Asia is pretty common. But it's kind of interesting that South Korea, who frankly isn't too happy with Japan, and none of the Asian countries are, they all kind of hate each other, would even care enough. If this was in China, I don't think they would have ever been caught, because they would have just been able to bribe the police, so the police wouldn't care.
Why do you call? To the void.
Oops. I think I should have drawn a card before I did that. I'm actually trying to win here, sort of. There's a game coming out this summer for PC, iOS, and Android called Terra Battle 2 and Terra Wars. 2 games. So that's another announcement. These announcements in between actual news stories are it's a very odd way to cover things. That's why I would ideally want to write these down and sort them. Platinum Games has seemingly teased Bayonetta 1 and 2 for the Switch, in the sense that there was a blue and red image of a Bayonetta in her form, I think, in Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2, and the default Joy-Con colors are blue and red, or at least some of them are. This. Attack here. It doesn't really help our odds any. It doesn't probably change anything if Bayonetta 2 comes out for the Switch, since we know Nintendo funded Bayonetta 2. It would slightly make it easier for me to play Bayonetta 2 if I wanted to, but it's still not on the PC. And Bayonetta needs a patch. And Nier Automata apparently needs some patches, and so does Bayonetta. So there's some work that needs to be done. This, and then
As the
this.
master wishes.
This.
Job's done.
We'll vaporize, and then in return, there's a iOS and Android game coming out in Japan. It might come out worldwide since it's a cell phone game called Baki the Grappler Ultimate Championship. Baki the Grappler is a pretty well-known manga anime. It's a sports anime, so those typically don't travel as well to the West, but it's still well enough. Alright, so I've played the 15 demons. So let's switch over to the discard draw. Yep. And yeah, last stream, one of my fans was telling me you just have to play for an hour and you'll get an hour a day, and in a week you'll be at legendary ranked. Well, let's see how long we've been playing so far. Let's see. I've been playing almost 45 minutes, and
Your soul shall be mine.
then let's see, who's quoting on somebody. I got a spam message here. Yeah, this guy's spamming like crazy. Like, I thought maybe this guy was real, but he just said nice clip to my like 5-minute video of me literally doing nothing. That's ridiculous. Flag is spam. Reported. Reported. There you go. 2 reports of you spamming the exact same thing. Yeah, I've been going 45 minutes though. Some of that was Tavern Brawl, certainly. A lot of that was Tavern Brawl.
So
But
many possibilities.
a lot of it wasn't. At least one game wasn't. And see, I'm about halfway through the news too. Prepare your hard drives, because if you want to play Forza Motorsport 7, I think this is on the Xbox. Might be anywhere. Hey Walter, finally somebody did make it. Walter, how did you find this stream? Because YouTube didn't announce it.
So many possibilities.
This is basically a secret stream right now because I know nobody would have known it was going on. Anyways, back to news. The Forza Motorsport 7 download will be a little bit less than 100 gigs. So I'm not sure what a original Xbox One came with. I would assume it's somewhere close to 2 terabytes of space. But it seems like that is a massive amount. In comparison, we are now hitting the point where the installing of something would be 2 double-layer Blu-rays at 50 gigabytes, or 4 single-layer Blu-rays at gigabytes. That's when we start getting to the point that we were at with DVDs, where it was double-sided, double-layered DVDs, where you had to flip it over if you wanted the widescreen letterbox version, or if you want the full screen pan and scan version, you flipped the DVD over the other way. It's really, really large. That probably also tells us that Forza Motorsport 7 will look really, really good. And that's great news. But even on a PC, taking up 100 gigabytes is a lot. Like, when I'm playing a really fancy game for an hour, I get about 5 to 6 gigabytes per video. So that would be 20 hours of gameplay. The extra just sitting on my SSD, and I only have like a 1 terabyte SSD, so that's who it's gonna hurt more than anybody else, is people who have put SSDs in their systems. I haven't seen as much about this news story as I would like, but apparently there's an Assassin's Creed anime in the making from the Netflix Castlevania showrunner, so apparently they are already on to the next project, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's very much how we're going to see it, is that going forward a lot of video games, particularly Japanese video games, are going to just pay Netflix to make a cross-promotional anime, and hopefully we find that it's slightly good quality. We don't need more bad anime versions of video games. Assassin's Creed in particular, you could do almost anything with it. Castlevania, at the very least, has to be somewhat focused around the established characters. So they're slightly different starting point.
You are not the boss of me. Not the boss of me.
Does this draw 2 cards from your deck? Discard 2 cards. One of the things, the game I'm covering right now is Life is Strange, and it's certainly a strange attempt at a game. It's a better version of a Telltale game than what I've seen Telltale do, in an odd way. Play or discard this. Let's see, play this first, and then deal 4 damage to a random enemy, and then deal 1 damage? Nope. This. Draw another card that way. And let's go ahead and kill this guy. Oops. The thing about Life is Strange, though, is it probably would have worked better if it was just one of these Netflix choose your own adventure games, and probably all Telltale games would work better if they were just Netflix choose your own adventure things. The time rewinding, time skipping forward mechanism is very poorly thought out now that I've gotten further into it. It just doesn't work the way you would hope it would. Let's see. And there really is only a few points in Life is Strange that so far seem like they really matter. Enough points that you could have eliminated a lot of the interaction. Life is Strange is also odd because at the beginning of episode 2 they were playing this 18-year-old girl named Max, and she's in this dormitory, and they needed or wanted a scene where let's do this, and then do this. Like, didn't quite get that right, but I think I may have succeeded here. So they needed a scene where Max has the ability to be privy to a conversation that they wouldn't have been privy to. She wouldn't have been privy to if she was known to be in the room, which is exactly what happened in at the very beginning of the first game too. Is that Max was in a position to see something that she normally wouldn't have been able to see otherwise. And so in the second season, in the second episode, they decide to have her in the shower while people are talking in this bathroom, and it's like individual separate shower stalls, but just curtains separating the individual shower stalls to the sinks, and that's where the other girls are talking. And then they decide to animate it, and they show the tops of her shoulders and her hair getting wet, which is ridiculous because the entire animation ability that they have is really bad as far as hair mechanics, and they should have used a much better engine and a different animation style for hair physics, considering she's constantly moving the hair out of her eyes, but the hair is just stationary, like it's been glued on with hair gel, and you don't see individual strands, you just see clumps of hair for this artistic style. So putting a water effect over that doesn't really help anything or show anything interesting, and it just seems silly that they showed her in the shower because she's an 18-year-old girl. Nobody should want to see that, and unless you're an 18-year-old boy, and that's not who this game is for. That wouldn't work at all. And when she finishes the shower, she puts on the exact same clothes. She doesn't use a towel. She doesn't dry off. She just puts on the exact same clothes she was wearing at the beginning. The clothes apparently were in the shower with her, and yet they're dry. And it just makes no sense. All they would have had to do is have her go into a toilet stall, just sit on the toilet stall and, I don't know, text or whatever. It's just hide in the toilet stall to hear this conversation, and then it would have been the same thing. It would have made a lot more sense that she walks into a room and then walks out of the room wearing the same clothes. It's just a poorly thought out thing that seemed a little too focused on having her shower. It just seems odd. It didn't show anything. I was kind of afraid I was gonna have to censor it. I'm like, why would you even do this? But I'm still left with, why would you even do this? And it just really shows some bad writing that's in Life is Strange, and bad thinking of things. The story is pretty weak. Alright, we've been going about 50 minutes, so that's going to be the end of this recording, but stay tuned if you're watching it live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.